We're live. All right, we're live. This is Lucas Pino. Nobody's here yet.
That's okay. Hi. Hey. Hey, everybody.
We got some questions from yesterday while we were driving, and then we got tired, so we went to bed. And we didn't do it. We're in Palm Springs, as you can see, by these beautiful palm trees.
That's just a picture.
It's just a picture. The outside kind of looks like that, too, though. Look at that. And then my mom calls. Classic. My mom just called. Pause the video. But anyway, hello. Welcome to the stream. We're going to answer some questions from yesterday. Feel free to drop some in down here for Lucas or me or neither of us, really. But we're going to go through the ones that came in and go in order. I guess we'll go in order.
Oh, sweet.
And we'll see what how far we get. We are playing tonight in Palm Springs, Jazzville, Cast of Characters tour. Then we're headed to Denver tomorrow, 7 p.m., one set at Dazzle.
Oh, baby.
And where are we going from there? Oh, yeah, Reno. We're going to Reno on Friday and Saturday, playing a house concert. So Jazz Boy 2020 is here, prolific contributor of questions. Awesome. Ooh, Avery's going to come to the side door. That's at the end of the month. We're doing Birdland and side door. But let's get Lucas involved here. Instead of me just talking away. Feel free to drop in some questions if you have any. But this is from Garnet Muller. How do you work on your swing and time feel, and how do you practice that?
I'm going to answer.
I want you to answer.
I saw a video that Joe Lovano had a master class at Berkeley. I think it might be on the internet still, but where he talks about like playing but feeling like different parts of the beat. So he said like he would play eighth notes and maybe like tap or feel the quarter note, you know, mm-hmm. and then that produces a certain type of feeling. And then he talked about playing at the half note level, and then from the half note level even going down to the whole note level. So you're only you're tapping half notes and trying to play, and then tapping whole notes and then trying to play, and then tapping once every two measures and trying to play. And his point, I think, in that masterclass was that it's going to change like the way that you play and like phrase. But I also noticed that like if I'm going to try to play with a metronome once every two measures or once every four measures, it's really going to expose how solid my time is. Mm-hmm. And so when I started practicing that, I realized like, oh, my time is bad, and so I started to try to work it out, you know, from those perspectives. And
so that gets it consistent. So how did you work on like the feel of the eighth notes?
Yeah, another thing that I ended up doing is with a good friend of mine when we were both at the New School, a drummer named Dustin Kaufman and I used to get together in the practice room, and one of us would wear headphones and have the metronome on, and the other one we would have to play to each other's time. Like I would have the metronome on and he would play to my time, and then he would have the metronome on and I'd play to his time, and we would say like, okay, well now I'm going to try to play like ahead of the beat, or now I'm going to try to play behind the beat. And that really helped. I think that the stronger I feel about my time, the more I have a sense of whether or not I'm playing ahead or behind, or whether I'm pushing or laying back, so to speak. Mm-hmm. I don't know. How about you?
I always talk about playing along with records to get the feel together, and playing along with solos, mm-hmm. trying to match the eighth notes and the articulations like exactly. Yeah. So like record yourself with headphones on so that you can hear just you know, mm-hmm. when you listen to the recording back, not like playing with loudspeakers or whatever. Yeah. And then listening back and then just focusing on the eighth notes, like how they feel, I guess.
Totally.
By matching, and then just absorbing that over time by doing, you know, not one solo, but 20.
Right. You know? Right. It can't be overstated how important like transcription is, but also that you're not no individual is a good judge of themselves, especially in the moment while they're playing. And so it's incredibly important to record and listen back and try to find some type of objective way of measuring how accurate your performance, especially a performance of a transcription is.
Yeah. So those are good steps, and I try to get my students to go really deep on one person at a time, rather than doing like, I don't know, J.J. Johnson and then Pat Metheny and then John Coltrane, and I mean all of that is good stuff, but it's like it doesn't help you get super deep into the feeling of that person.
Mm-hmm.
But there's many ways you can approach it. That's that. A bunch of questions live coming in here. Jazz Boy, that's okay. Sorry you didn't come to the Blue Whale. Tickets are sold out for the house concert on Saturday, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we'll catch you next time, I think. And let's see. Thoughts on ear training, especially in hearing chords and their qualities.
Yeah.
For me, it was playing the piano that really helped with that.
Absolutely.
You have some thoughts?
I agree. Like, you play the piano and then play those voicings on your instrument. Like, play the literal voicings. And I remember Jerry Bergonzi saying something like, to be able to hear something, you have to play it first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like a two-way street, but I totally agree that, like, if you can't hear something, that means that you need to, like, repetitiously practice it and live with it until it becomes something that is like a banality to you. I think that a lot of times, you're going to cross a threshold from where something sounds mysterious or awesome to you. When you practice it enough, it becomes normal, and you're going to lose like this mysterious, unreachable quality of the thing that you're practicing. It's going to pass into what is normal or achieved for you. And in a way, like, the better you get at music, the more ordinary certain aspects of music are going to become, and that can be disheartening from a listener standpoint, but I think it's absolutely necessary. So one thing that I practiced a lot was just playing like A-B voicings, like if from the bottom up I would play like minor 9 3 5 7 9, and maybe descending to like da da do do dee, and then take the 7 of that minor, right? And then move it down a half step, and the shape becomes the dominant 5. Da 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 da. And when I started practicing these types of piano shapes, it really opened up my ears to be able to hear those harmonies, and then especially when you start changing the notes that are the alterations, the flat 9s, sharp 11s, of the 5-chord quality. Yeah, it'll really open up your ears. So you got to play it to hear it.
Yeah. There's also using I like to use drones to tune intervals, because if we're talking going all the way back to even like pre hearing chords or whatever, you got to be able to hear intervals, and you can do that. There's a million apps on the internet to just ear train intervals and triads and stuff like that. But I agree with Lucas. You have to play it. It's the only way. Here's another live question. Would you consider yourself a jazz musician if you at least learn some transcriptions from others, then write your own jazz composition? I guess so. I don't know. I guess I consider you a jazz musician if you decide that you're a jazz musician and you're serious about the music and you want to learn it.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. That it's not like you're gonna like be anointed at some point. Like you make it. Like I feel like and jazz musician is such a narrow term in and of itself, but I think that like essentially chasing the better version that you can see of yourself down the road is what allows me to say that I am something. If I'm chasing it, then I feel like I'm something. And so if you've done some transcriptions and you write, don't let it be a place of rest or stopping. Just continue to do those things. Continue writing and continue transcribing, continue studying this music, and it's an active thing. It's not an arrival thing.
Yes. There's no arrival. So, I don't know. I guess you just have to decide for yourself. If you're serious about it and you want to be a jazz musician and you're learning the music, then that's it. That's how you do it. Here's another question from Garnet. Thanks for the other question. He says, as a single line player when learning tunes, on piano is the root in the left hand and third and seventh in the right. Sorry, there's a very loud truck. It's live. So root in the left hand, third and seventh in the right hand suffice to voicing. So yeah, that's the first step.
Yeah,
So yes, start there. That's what I say to my students. Any recommendations for playing lead trombone on Ellington tunes?
I think I can feel this one. I think I can.
What do you think? What are you going to say?
Honest to God, I have no good answer for that. I'm a saxophonist. The truth is always, like, play with the recordings, listen to the recordings relentlessly. Mm-hmm. I'm always reminded of Chick Corea on one of his... he had a DVD box set, those red ones, I can't remember. Rendezvous in New York. There was one thing where he talked about playing his transcriptions along with Bud Powell, and he put the speakers on each end of the piano and faced them inwards, and he would play along until he couldn't hear himself, that he was so perfect with Bud Powell that he was, he would disappear into the sound of the... So, I mean, anyway, he's talking about the Duke Ellington. I mean, I think it's probably the same thing, which is like...
Yeah, you got to listen to the recordings. You got to know who those people are. I mean, I love modern interpretations of that music, but if you want to know about what it sounded like originally, you got to go back to the original recordings. And there's multiple versions of the tunes, but the main thing to take away is the vibrato, the style, and the articulation. Like what Lawrence Brown is playing for most of the time, playing the lead chair after 19, I can't remember the year, late 40s, and thereafter it was mostly Lawrence Brown playing those lead parts. So he had a very particular way of playing, like everyone does, and inflecting, or not inflecting. It wasn't Ellington's music wasn't overly inflected, in my opinion. In the trombone lead chair, he wasn't adding like a bajillion scoops and falls and all that kind of stuff. But it definitely has vibrato and flavor. And like if Juan Tisol was playing the lead, it's going to sound totally different, and the vibrato is totally different. But without going into a whole diatribe about this, go to the recordings. And then when you go and you listen to the Lincoln Center Band, for example, playing it, you can tell, like, oh, he's doing this part of it that's from the original recording, and then the rest of it is their opinion, and they're putting their thing on it. Yeah. I think it happens with the saxophone section, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, in that... you got to just make sure that the reason why you're pursuing it is, or I don't know, not make sure, that's the wrong way to say it, but I think that, if you're pursuing these things to be recognized by others, I don't think that that's very good fuel. I think, if you're pursuing the mastery of the music because you're obsessed with the music and you're trying to do it some type of honor and you want it to be more personal and closer in your life, that's better fuel. Why do you want to be, why? You want to win a competition, or you want to be recognized, or, it's going to end up being a pretty shallow goal, and it might not yield the best results. But if you fall in love with that music and it becomes like a daily practice that you're checking it out, you'll just probably much more quickly and much more honestly become tied to that sound, and it'll probably yield rewards that you never thought it would.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go to some of these questions here. Oh, this is a question that was going to be asked in just a second. But we'll get to some of these right here. When are you going to shave? From Jack. I think he was talking to me from yesterday. I just shaved half an hour ago, so we're good. And this was a question that came in on the live stream, and also was a previous question, was how long have you and Nick been friends for? How long have we been friends for?
We met in 2010?
Yeah, I moved to New York in 2010, and we met almost immediately when I moved to town.
We met in 2010. We've been friends for about 6 or 7 months.
I don't know if we were that good of friends when we first moved to town.
Because we didn't see each other a lot.
Yeah.
When did we start playing? What were the circumstances of us starting to play?
I guess because I started putting together my band, I guess, and I asked you to play, I think. And then, so that was the beginning of that, so it would have been like 2011 or something.
And then when did you come and start to read for me?
Yeah, and then I started playing in the non-net. I don't know. Because it was someone else from the new school, Corey King, and then you were trying out different people after that. So I don't know when. It was after school for sure.
So it was
after 2012, I think.
Damn, crazy.
I think. I don't know. Something around there. Long time.
10 years.
10 years.
That's the non-easy
This
answer.
is another good question before we get back to a serious question. How did Lucas Pino's scarf game get so strong?
Mickey Yamanaka.
Yeah.
She made me a scarf, a really awesome infinity scarf for Christmas. She surprised me outside of Smalls with it. It's definitely one of my favorite gifts I've ever received. So, yeah, Mickey helped. Yeah.
She's a prolific. She just posted on her Instagram
about her knitting.
Yeah, about the knitting.
Mickey Yummy.
Yeah, Mickey Yummy. Check her out. She's a great pianist, amazing pianist, and also a great knitter and friend. Good. I've definitely worked a lot on vibrato and stealing his tone. That you're on the right track with that Ellington stuff. All right, let's see here. Monique Jazz says, "Okay, what would you play over A7 sus and B flat major 7 sharp 11? Seems like they share a lot of the same notes. I'm just trying to get some better ideas."
The A7 sus.
A7 sus and B flat major 7 sharp 11. Well, it's two different modes. It's two different, but they share a lot of the same notes. But A7 doesn't have a B flat. What would you play?
Oh, I don't know.
It's kind of like contextual to what comes before.
Yeah, it's absolutely contextual, but the chord scale theory would say that over sus you play Mixolydian, right. And over
Lydian.
Yeah, over a Lydian you play Lydian. Yeah, no, but that's the truth. That's the answer. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's very contextual. I tried it, but chord scale theory only gets you so far. Because sometimes if something's in the air, like a note's in the air from the measure before, or from the chorus before, you might want another note in there. But yeah, learn the chord scale theory first, and then kind of just forget about it.
Got to remember, like, if you took chord scale theory and you put it on a spaceship, and you shot it into space, and aliens found chord scale theory, and they came back down to Earth, you could almost be assured that they would not be playing, the type of music that we play. It would be some other thing.
Right.
And even though we try to quantify all of these things, generally the music is indescribable, and you have to use your ears. You gotta learn the music through your ears, and it's not very easy to measure how good you've gotten through your ears. You can't, so it can be very difficult or intimidating as a student. But I don't know, just have faith in the process and using your ears to learn chord scale theory and all the stuff that you write down and quantify, or nomenclature and stuff like that, is supposed to act more, I think, as like like when you get to the back of the book, what's that reference section like in the back of the book, like the
it's an appendix.
Yeah, like an appendix. It should act as an appendix, but learning the music still is about your ears and your heart, and all that other stuff is more of like appendix. Yeah.
It's just a list of suggestions. Monique says it's from 12th and Edge Hill by Jeff Coffin. I don't know that piece.
Jeff's cool, dude.
Jeff writes great music, though. So, but the answer is just Mixolydian and Lydian as a starting point for those two scales. And you were correct that they share a lot of notes. Okay, let's keep moving here. Thanks for being here, everybody. Glad that we can talk to you. I've never done it with a friend before. It's so much better with a friend. Let's see, this is a question, but if I press this button, what's going to happen? Oh, here we go. Any recommendations for playing... Oh, we already answered that question. Okay, great. Lucas.
Oh, me.
These questions right for Lucas from Oh That Lexi. What does a day, week in the life of a New York City gigging musician look like? And how did you know New York was for you? What considerations did you make?
Wow, cool questions. I always let my passion dictate the next move in my life. When I was a young musician, 10 or 11 years old, I didn't have any aspirations of leaving Arizona. I thought that perhaps those I could become, I could get a scholarship to a community college, maybe if I'm lucky, and continue to play music in some capacity. Maybe at one point I said, oh, I could become a band director if I really try hard. And I was practicing very hard, and every time I practiced really hard for an extended period of time, somebody would come along and kind of put it in my head, like, well, you're this good, you should probably go to this summer camp, or you're this good and you should try out for this band or do this thing. And so my goals were informed by others a lot of times, kind of tapping me on the shoulder and saying, hey, you might be really happy if you do this or that or the other thing. And New York was kind of the same thing. I ended up meeting young musicians at Brubeck Summer Jazz Colony, and they had it in their head like, oh, well, I'm definitely going to move to New York at some point. And I said, oh, well, maybe I need to do that, and started to consider it. So I haven't really set real far goals down the line. My goal is to have a daily practice. That's my goal. If I can just get on the instrument every day, really try to honor the music that has given me so much, and practice it, then that's the consideration that I make. And then that kind of answers the other question too, right? Like, a day in my life, I try to make playing a priority every day, and I try to, in spite of the fact that when you become a professional musician, there are other things that really are tugging at your coat, how to book gigs and how to talk to people and where to hang out and la 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 la, on and on and on, just to make it a priority that I'm still practicing, and I'm still trying to figure out, well, what is the aspects about playing music that I just still don't get, and trying to get a clear mirror about what I can and can't do. That's my daily goal, and so then on the week to week or the month to month, I spend a lot of time on the road, and I try to take care of myself. I try to have a good time, and yeah, that's about it. Sorry, that's a long answer.
No, that's the answer. Yeah, I guess making that practice, and then your obligations, I suppose, playing gigs and stuff.
Professor Finzer.
Oh no!
How did you decide to become an educator in addition to a gigging musician? Also from that Lexi.
I never was not doing both at the same time. That's the honest answer. I've always been teaching. Since I was in high school, I had students that were in elementary school, and then when I was in college, I had high school students, and then when I was a professional, now I have college students. It's always just been part of it. I think partially as a trombone player, I have kind of a complex about playing trombone and not having the same level of representation in jazz groups or gig opportunities or whatever, and so I've always been keeping my eyes open to the full scope of possibilities, and so that's what I always did, and kind of one opportunity has always led to another. Kind of performance opportunities have led to teaching, and teaching has led to performance, and school has, school led to a lot of professional opportunities, and there's just kind of I guess in a way, it's almost separate worlds in a way, because a lot of jazz musicians don't teach, but a lot of them do too. So it's kind of connected and kind of disconnected. I don't know.
And a lot do that shouldn't be.
Yeah, there's
sorry.
There are some questionable people that do teach.
Yeah.
That maybe shouldn't. But so the quick answer is, I've always done it. That's why. So I don't know. I've never been able to divorce the learning and from the teaching and playing. It all comes together.
There's a great Leonard Bernstein video where he talks about, I think he says in German, the word to learn is the same as to teach. To teach and to learn is almost like the same exact word, which I think
I didn't know
that really provides insight into, if you want to be a student of something, it means that you're probably going to end up also teaching it.
Yeah, and it really helps you. It helps you to teach, to understand what you're trying to talk about, trying to explain something 7 different ways till it finally makes sense.
Totally.
Because everybody understands something a little bit different. There's a couple questions. Let me scroll back here. from Monique. I got a large scholarship from University of Hartford in Connecticut from Javon Jackson. Congratulations, that's very cool. Do you guys know much about Hartford? I don't know much about the music program or college. Well, it was started by Jackie McLean. It's in Hartford, which is pretty close to New York. A lot of the faculty there play in New York all the time.
There's a lot of great alumni from that school also.
Yeah. So, I think it's a good place to be. If you're into playing jazz, it seems like most of them focus on playing jazz there.
Yeah.
And in my mind, what I mean when I say that is focus on like the history of jazz music, like bebop and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Tunes, bebop stuff, rather than maybe more contemporary place. Jazz Boy, I couldn't stop listening to your track, cast of characters called Perspective. Oh, well, I'm glad you liked it. It's an F sharp minor, so start practicing.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a tough one.
All right, we're doing great. Well, how are we doing here? Question for Lucas. We already answered that. I answered this. What do you think about when you're soloing? This is from reachhero.f.
When I'm soloing, I'm trying to tell myself, listen.
Yeah. So that means, to translate, that means you have to not be thinking about chords or scales or any of these things. It has to be ingrained, more or less, you know. And that comes back to that ear training question from before.
It's no fun to talk to somebody who has an agenda, right? I mean, who doesn't ask you any questions or, you know, isn't in the moment. And I think that to be an improviser is, we're really trying to be committed to being in the moment, to be present, and it can be a scary thing because as you know from just trying to have a conversation, sometimes you're dumbfounded. You know, sometimes you don't have anything on your mind. Sometimes, you know, there's a void, and I think to improvise means like I will stare willingly into the void and have a hope that something will be an answer or produced out of that, but you know, try not to come in with an agenda. Try to tell yourself to listen.
Yeah, I always tell students to think about the question, what does the music need right now, which is the same as listen. In my estimation.
Yeah,
we mean the same thing. It's just like sometimes you have to play not what you felt like you wanted to play before you picked up the horn, because the music could change in that 2 seconds between when you picked up your horn. It could be going like this, or somebody could play something that makes it need to end, you know? Like you think you're going to play a solo, but it's like, oh, no, we're going to go back. We're going to end this song. It's been too long. Or whatever. So that's what I say to my students. What does the music need right now? And try to just serve the music, whatever it wants to do. Because it always wants to do something, usually. Unless it's just never doing anything. I'm getting all these messages. Sorry.
I love it.
Lucas is giving us a snapshot of what happens in my life all day long.
Intensity.
Yeah. So if you have any other questions, if you're here live now, feel free to drop them in. I see some other things I'm scrolling back to here. Yes, you should start learning by teaching, for sure. 100%.
There's that famous quote, like, I think it's attributed to Albert Einstein, which is like, if you cannot state something simply, then you do not understand thoroughly. Something like this. Like, if you do not understand something well enough, then you cannot state it simply. It's been a real fun little journey to try and figure out how to use English language to try to communicate musical ideas. It's been very difficult, but very rewarding.
Here's a question. I feel like the whole world should need more new jazz artists for this year and next year as well. I think there are a lot. I think you just need to do some digging. Who are some, we were talking about this the other day, who are some people that are, I guess, younger than us, we're kind of in the middle now, sort of, that are bringing attention or deserve attention? Yeah,
I love Joel Ross and Emmanuel Wilkins and Jeremy Dutton, and like there's a whole crew there. I love Matisse Picard and Ruben Fox and all them cats. I just love them to death. Anthony Hervey and Joe Block and lots of really great young cats, man. Gifton is ridiculous. Gosh, there's too many to list. Right. They're all over. I don't know how many of them are producing recordings, or solo or leader recordings. I hope that they come out more, but that costs money, and when you're just fresh out of college or whatever, I think it can be difficult to produce recordings, and I hope it's expensive. So I hope that cats are doing that more and more, but
I'm sure they will.
Yeah. Riley Maherka, I love Riley Maherka.
Yeah, that group, the Westerlies.
The Westerlies, dope. Sammy Miller's group is dope.
I know there's so many people. We could just list people.
The rest of the Q&A is just going to be us
just
listing
names.
Jazz musicians.
It's Hervey with a V, not Herbie.
Oh yeah,
Anthony
Hervey.
You'll be able to find it. Don't worry, you'll be able to rewind once I post it to the story and once it's on YouTube.
Hervey's a trumpeter.
Yeah.
Anthony Hervey is a trumpeter. Yeah, he's awesome.
So there's lots of jazz musicians making records all the time. If you go on Spotify, for example, there's the State of Jazz playlist. There's a playlist that Outside in Music does, which is my company. That's new every week. We put new jazz releases for the week, so there's a lot. There's hundreds of recordings a month coming out. So there's lots and lots and lots of jazz happening in the world. You just have to go and find it. It's not super easy it's not just going to come to you necessarily. Jazz musicians aren't always good at promoting their stuff. But awesome. Lucas, this has been great. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
You can find Lucas at, what's your Instagram? At
Lucas Roberto Pino.
So you can find Lucas there. We'll be playing in Palm Springs tonight. Send us some friends. We'll be in Denver tomorrow. What's the date? 12. 13 Reno. 14 Reno. End of the month we'll be in New York at Birdland on the 26th. Nashville on the 27th. Unfortunately, he has to accompany me to all these places.
I'll be there.
28th is the last date, and that's at the Side Door in Connecticut. Another great room. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.